Hey guys, how y'all doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all those around the world. Welcome back to the Pokemon Unite video featuring, as you can see, Glaceon. We're going to go ahead and take a peek at her abilities, read them off, go in it together. If you guys want to skip this part, feel free to do so. You can dive right into the gameplay. But for these build setups here, what we are playing with is Muscle Band, Shell Bell, Choice Specs. What ability we will be using for this setup? This setup right here is for Icy Spear. All right, for Icy Wind, we take this out here and we go with Scope Lens. All right, I normally take Shell Bell. I will take Muscle Band and Scope Lens when I am running her other ability, Icy Wind. Anyway, we're gonna dive into her skill sets and I can show you guys what's going on, how her abilities work, and all that sort of thing. Her basic attack is very, very important. You have to know what this is in order to understand her kit. So her boosted attack, every 3 attack becomes a boosted attack, dealing increased damage and giving the user 2 ice crystals when the boosted attack hits. This will play a part in how much damage you do overall with your abilities. Now, her passive ability is called Snow Cloak. When the Pokemon would be affected by a hindrance, the hindrance is negated. A hindrance would be a slow, a stun, a snare, all that sort of thing. Now, once that applies to you, it will be negated and you become invisible for a short duration. During the time you are invisible, if you activate your abilities or any of that sort of thing, you break out of stealth. So keep that in mind. Her first ability is Icicle Spear. This ability is absolutely insane. Definitely hands down one of my favorite abilities in the entire game right now. So what this does is a short hit ability. So think about Hyper Beam, except for no matter what, this ability is going to hit you. No matter what, you can eject button, you can dash over a wall. This is going to smash you. All right. So what happens is all of your ice crystals that are around your Pokemon, they will shoot out at a designated target. Okay. Think of it like a pin missile or a machine gun. They would just go straight after that one target. If the user has no ice crystals, when you activate this ability, you just automatically gain 2 ice crystals and those will shoot. So the more ice crystals you have, the more damage this does. Now, this ability does do AoE. So on those team fights, we're sitting here in that bush waiting for Zapdos and someone hops over that wall and more people hop over that wall. You hit one target with this, you hit everybody around that target. Now, think of it like this. You have a Pokemon directly in front of you and you have a Pokemon directly behind you. This ability does not go through the target. It does not pass through the first one. It does not collect go. What it does is it'll hit the first target and the targets that are around it, behind it, will take a little bit of AoE damage. So in a single one-on-one situation, Icicle Spear will be hitting one target. So what does that do? All of that damage is increased because it's one Pokemon. You see what I'm saying? Now, on top of that, what this also does is after you use this ability, the cooldown of your Ice Shard and or Freeze Dry is reduced, and each launched Ice Crystal also deals additional damage to the opposing Pokemon it hits equal to a set percentage of HP, of max health. So this does more damage depending on how much HP that Pokemon has, depending on how many Icicle Shards you shoot, which is phenomenal. Like, this ability is just so fun. On top of that, Icy Wind. This one is a little bit more difficult to play with. So we all see Sylveon and how Sylveon is played. You jump in with Mystical Fire, you weave in your auto attacks, you have Draining Kiss to keep you up, right? Give you more HP. You get your Focus Band to proc off of, you have your Potion to proc off of. You're very, very bulky, right? Glaceon, you cannot come into this game with the same mentality that you can jump into a team fight and not die. She doesn't have any abilities that allows her to sustain herself as much as Sylveon does, but what Icy Wind allows you to do, you get the leap, you get the dash, whatever you want to call it, the same thing you would have as Mystical Fire, except for what this ability does. As soon as you dash, it will lock onto the nearest Pokemon, i.e. enemy Pokemon, wild Pokemon, what have you, whatever one you're targeting, and it will shoot off the ice crystals. Kind of similar to Icicle Spear, except for this ability here. What it does, if the user hits the same opposing Pokemon with 4 or more charges, right, 4 more ice crystals, that Pokemon's movement speed is decreased, okay? So you'll slow them down. The more ice shards that hit that Pokemon, the stronger the movement speed slow is. Makes sense, right? But if you don't have any icicle charges, you will just get 2 immediately, just like you would with Icicle Spear. Now, the kicker for this, each launched Icicle Crystal does, same thing as the other one. Percent health, depending on how much max HP they have. But the fun thing about this ability that Icicle Spear does not have, this ability is a crit. So you do crit with this ability in pretty much all the time. Glaceon has passive increased crit rate as she levels up, which is insane. So this is why if you're playing with this ability here, you would run Scope Lens to give yourself more crit damage. Her auto attacks crit so often, by the way, with Scope Lens, let alone her passive that automatically has crit rate as she levels up. It's really, really good, boys. I'm going to take a peek at her last ability here, then we're going to dive into it. Ice Shard. Ice Shard is really unique to this Pokemon. It's a buff, right? That lasts for about a couple seconds, increases your movement speed for a short time and basic attack speed for a short time. And it throws out bigger, how you say, like bigger chunks of ice. So think of it kind of like when Ninetales pops her Aurora Veil and then she like gets boosted autos. Think of it kind of like that in a sense. But when these abilities hit, so when these auto attacks hit, they will decrease the opponent's movement speed by a little bit of time. And each time you attack a target with Ice Shard, you get 2 ice crystals. So you gain 2 ice crystals when you're smacking a target, which is really solid. Comes a Freeze Dry. It's a skill shot ability that goes in a line, kind of like a Shadow Ball, Hoopa Shadow Ball, Gengar Shadow Ball, but except for it will collide on the first target hit and does like a little AoE explosion. Now the easiest way to explain it is it's just an AoE explosion that's on the ground, okay? In which while you're in that area, you slow enemy Pokemon down. But if they stay in that zone, they will get frozen, kind of like Ninetales, you know, little freezes and stuff. But you can just walk out of it. It does an okay amount of burst damage, but nothing too crazy. And now you have her Unite move. Unite move is the most fun Unite move I've had for a very long time in this game right now. It is really, really cool, just the fact that what you get to do with it. So you get to jump up in the air, kind of like, we call it Sylveon's ability, or Unite move. What this does is, while you're inside the zone, your movement speed is increased a lot, boys. I mean a lot. You're just like skating around. So if you pop this and then X speed, you're just zooming like NASCAR fast. It's crazy. And then it gains 1 ice crystal for a short amount. It gains 1 ice crystal as you're inside the area, essentially. But keep this in mind. The movement speed of the opposing Pokemon in this area is also slowed. So again, you're zooming around while they're slowed down, taking damage from you. And what I mean is, while you're inside this area, you gain ice crystals. When you're on the edge of this area, you will gain ice crystals. But if you're in the center of it, you gain ice crystals a lot quicker. So therefore, you can spam your abilities more often. Anyway, we're going to dive into the gameplay. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in a minute. Stay safe out there. Alright guys, go ahead and take a peek at her abilities and see what they actually do in-game. Today, we won't be playing with Icicle Spear. We will be doing that for the very next demonstration. But instead, we're going to play with the, how you say, a lot more fun ability for a lot of people. It's probably going to be Icy Wind for a lot of people in this game right now. Icy Wind is similar to Mystical Fire from Espeon, and Espeon for Sylveon, in which you dash forward, right? You get that little leap, and then all your icicles that you have stored up will attack a said target. Now, this ability in itself is not an AoE. So it's a single target. It doesn't do AoE damage like Icicle Spears do. But at the same time, what you will notice is this ability crits. Yes, the first special attack Pokemon in the game that I believe that we have currently right now that will crit on abilities outside of Delphox. I guess you can say Wigglytuff as well, but still, this one scales. So she does get crit rate as she levels up as well. So you don't really have to run Scope Lens, but if you run Scope Lens, obviously you get more crit rate. Anyway, Icy Wind crits, which is fantastic. Look at it. You saw that? That is so cool. It's like a machine gun effect. It just pew pew. Pew pew. It is really, really neat. And the fact that it does HP % damage, depending on how low health the target is really, 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 really good. Now, I do enjoy Ice Shard over her other ability a lot more. Just because what Ice Shard does, it allows you to get that attack speed steroid, give yourself more icicle charges as you're auto attacking. So there's that. But other than that, this ability here with X speed is very, very solid. It gives you so much movement speed. You can kite your target out. You don't have to go, you can initiate whenever you want to with X speed. And the fact that you get Icy Wind that allows you to dash over walls and obstacles is really, really good. And you get crit on your basic attacks. Now, when it comes to her passive ability, you see that little aura that's up around me? It looks like a little veil. You see like little icicle flakes or snowflakes that are falling off of me? That is my passive ability. If you see that, my passive is up on Glaceon. And what that allows you to do is, if you take any sort of hindrances, a stun, a slow, a snare, anything like that, you will go stealth for a split second. Now, it doesn't remove the hindrances, but you do get to go stealth, which is really, really cool. So you kind of reposition yourself a little bit. But as soon as you auto attack or do what have you, you will break that animation. So keep that in mind. Now, it's not necessarily like, oh my god, OP or anything. It's like, if you get stunned in place, right? You are still stunned there, but you are invisible for a split second. So keep that in mind. You don't necessarily remove it or go anywhere else. You're there. But we're going to come up here. We're going to hit some of this test dummy for a little bit and see what our numbers can be like. But I will be playing her. She will be my new main. This is probably going to be my new jungle main, in which in lane jungle, it doesn't matter. I don't care. This is the first Pokemon in the game that's been out for a long time, in which I actually am excited for and or thoroughly excited to play. It's been a minute since that has happened, since we had Dragonite. So, I mean, each their own, dude. But we're going to dive over here and show you guys what this Pokemon can actually do in terms of its damage. Now, we will be resetting the Unite move, of course, I can show you. But Icicle Wind is very, very solid, right? It's a very good ability. The fact of it is it doesn't have the sustain as Sylveon does, where you can jump into a team fight, hit Mystical Fire, hit Draining Kiss, let your Focus Band proc off, do all that fun stuff, sustain yourself. You're more bursty when it comes to Glaceon. And again, it does crit. So you have to keep that in mind. You don't really want to dive into that. You're not Sylveon, you're not as bulky as she is, but you can do a lot of DPS because you can crit with the ability, which is fantastic. But I have noticed it does have the same issue with Mystical Fire. Sometimes you activate the ability and it does not go off. Like right here, it did not proc. Even though I was inside of the AoE of the ability to hit this target, it just did not work, which is unfortunate. But in any case, you jump in here with your Unite move and it allows you to get your charges a lot quicker. It doesn't do as much damage as Icicle Charge, but it is very, very fun, especially when you see these crits and you get the mobility and all that sort of thing. I think this Pokemon is going to be very, very fun to play, like super fun. We are running, for those of you interested in knowing, I am taking Shell Bell, Choice Specs, and Muscle Band when I play Icicle Charge, because Icicle Charge does not crit. When I am playing this ability set, I am running Scope Lens, Muscle Bands, and either Amplifier, Focus Bands, or another attack damage item, generally speaking. That's what's going to playtesting is going to be doing for me here. But Buzzwole is also in this PvE, so if you guys have not got into this test realm, I advise you to try to get into it. That way you can have some fun and check out the new things. Like, look at that, man. This movement speed, the amount of damage you can do with this Pokemon is ridiculous. Sadly enough, once Machamp pops that Unite, you can't really hinder him or slow him down, so there's that. But look how much damage you can do with just one Icy Wind charge on Squishy Pokemon. And that's auto attack crits, by the way. 971. It's so fun. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy it. This has been Pawseplays. Hope you guys smash that like button. Come join that Discord. Tell me I suck. We're going to dive into game number 2 right quick. And I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, how y'all doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to others around the world. Welcome back to another Pokemon Unite video featuring your girl Glaceon. Coming at you today with Icicle Spear. I'm going to show you guys how this build actually can work, what it does, what it can't do, all the funs, ins and outs of this new Pokemon, which will be my brand new main when it comes to Pokemon Unite. Absolutely incredible Pokemon. Very, very fun design. Overall, it looks very, very cool. The aesthetic is great. The abilities are cool. The best Pokemon that I think they've created for this game in a long time. Now, I haven't been excited for a new Pokemon since Dragonite, so this is really, really hype for me. Anyway, Icicle Spear. Let's take a peek at it. We read the ability. We're going to see it in action here. It is a surefire ability that fires all of your Icicles off at a target in which can collide. So in other words, if there are two Pokemon directly in front of you, right, Icicle Spear will hit the target that is in front of you only. Keep that in mind. It will not go through targets. What it does do is it has an AoE splash. So if it hits one target, it will hit other targets that are nearby for less damage. Now, when it comes to enemy Pokemon, like a single target, it does more DPS to single targets opposed of, in a cluster, if that makes sense. Her other ability is called Freeze Dry, which is a skill shot. Think of like a Shadow Ball with Gengar skill shot type ordeal. It's like in a line, right? And it will collide against the first target that's hit. The first target. It doesn't go through targets, just the first target that's hit, even though Shadow Ball goes through. Anyway, her Unite move here is fantastic. As long as I'm in the middle of this Unite move, I will get ridiculous amount of crystals. Like the crystals just keep on charging while my Unite move is up. Therefore, I can spam Icicle Spears more often. and I get ridiculous amount of movement speed while slowing you down in a slow zone, if that makes sense to you. So popping X speed, hitting your Unite move, and just skating around targets, it's probably going to be the way to go, and that's what build choice we will be running, and I can't wait to demonstrate it when we get inside actually live games and stuff with this Pokemon. She is so much fun, boys. Oh my gosh. Now, Freeze Dry, the way Freeze Dry works is it's a skill shot that hits in a line, right? Hits the first target that it hits and explodes on impact. Now, it drops a AoE slow onto the ground, as you can see here. If the target stays in that slow for a long period of time, they will become, frozen. But you can just easily skate out of it or walk out of it. It's not nothing like super major or anything like that. Now, this Icicle Spear ability cannot crit. So hear me out. It cannot crit. Her other ability, though, the one we will be getting into after this one, can crit, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's like a Mystical Fire Sylveon, right? You know how you dash forward and then you just throw all your icicles to a target? That ability can crit, and it's absolutely fun. I don't know which one I liked most, to be fair. I really enjoyed this one. Now here, I wanted to go ahead and playtest my passive ability, which did not proc for some reason. It did not make me go stealth. Now, I don't know if I just didn't pay attention to it. I just did not see myself go stealth. Now, what your passive is supposed to do, whatever hindrance you take, you're supposed to go invisible for a split second. I think I might have went invisible, but I still got punched in the face. So, I mean, each their own. So I guess that passive is going to be relatively meh, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really do anything. It just makes you go stealth for a second. But if you're already stunned in place, you go stealth, but you're still there. You're still stunned. It's interesting. I mean, maybe they'll change it a little bit. I'm not sure. It's just one of those things where if you take a slow from a distance, you know what I mean? Like, then sure, you go stealth for a split second and you might be able to evade or move out of the way or what have you. But other than that, her passive's okay. When it comes to her abilities, though, whew, boys, I'm trying to tell you, this is the most fun I've had in this game with a new Pokemon for a very, very, very long time. Since Dragonite. So for a very long time. But each their own. Her Unite move is probably going to be one of the best Unite moves in the game when it comes to how much damage you can do, especially when you can't be locked down. Because again, in a team fight, once you have this passive up, kind of like the other Espeon's ability, I don't think it's as good as Espeon, but you can kind of duck and dive inside of a team fight if you get crowd control thrown at you. You know what I mean? Which is really cool. But the fact that this ability has like AoE slow, increased movement speed for you when you're inside the area, and you can just constantly chuck out Ice Spears. Again, in a cluster, when you're sitting here in these bushes at Zapdos and stuff, you spam an Ice Spears, you're hitting everybody, boys. You know what I mean? You're hitting the first target and anyone that's around it. You're doing damage to everybody, which is really, really cool. But, we're going to jump over there and get to the target dummy, and I can show you guys some of the abilities and how that works here. See how much damage you can actually do, and I can show you guys the Unite move at its finest. Now, this is relatively really, really cool. Well, we're going to see if we can take down this Machamp one more time. And then I want to get down to it. Because there's as an ability, when it comes to this Icicle Spear, it doesn't matter what range you're at, where you're at. Once you target this, it just goes. Look at it. It just goes. And it's so cool because you can't escape from it. Once you have it locked, it's over. It's like a death sentence. It's really cool. Unlike Hyper Beam, where it's a short hit, it has a max range. You can kind of get out of it if you have an eject button or X speed or what have you. You can kind of dodge it. This one's a short hit no matter what. Like, you're getting hit by it. But in any case, so what happens is you build up stacks by auto attacking and getting your attacks up, right? And then you pop Icicle Spears, it shoots them all out. So now you have no more stacks. So what you would do is you would pop your Unite move and or your other ability. And while you're standing inside of this, it just constantly fills you up with Icicle Spears. So you can just keep getting the ability. You see how many that was? And one Unite move is nuts. But hey, man, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Pick her up. Definitely purchase her. She's going to be a lot of fun. Get into this testing room if you're able to, because Buzzwall is also here. But hey, this has been Pawseplays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Come join the Discord. Come tell me I suck. It is what it is. I will catch you guys in the very next video. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.